You're watching BBC News with me, Lucy Gray, and the breaking news that's happening this hour. We're hearing from Islamabad that the former Prime Minister, Imran Khan, has been arrested. He was appearing in court on charges unrelated to this arrest. He's been arrested. We're hearing from his party and from the police that he's been arrested. Caroline, as I was just saying, we haven't heard yet exactly why he's been arrested.
Well, we've heard from the Islamabad police that this is on corruption charges. And as you mentioned earlier, Lucy, there have been multiple charges and multiple cases against Imran Khan, ranging from terrorism to corruption charges to not using or declaring state money in the way that he should have declared it. Now, this particular case, as we say, the police have said that this is to do with corruption charges. We know he was appearing in court on corruption charges today, one of the many court cases that Imran Khan is currently being charged with. Now, what we are waiting to hear a bit more information about is exactly what happens next, where he has been taken to. We are waiting to hear details about the police station and also waiting to see a reaction. We're already seeing strong reaction on social media from Mr. Khan's party, the PTI party, and from their supporters, sharing videos and footage that they say is of the moment that Mr. Khan was arrested. We've seen footage of him being taken from the courtroom, surrounded by police, some of whom we've seen are wearing a sort of riot gear. There are some crowd shots which appear to show police in riot gear with shields as well. We've seen Mr. Khan then be taken into a car and then driven out from the Islamabad High Court, where he was appearing on those corruption charges earlier this morning.
Yes,
now,
we're looking at those pictures.
Hearing
Caroline, just so you know, because you probably can't see the feed, but we're showing these pictures now, which are from the PTI's official Twitter page, which is, as you're describing, these riot gear, these police officers in riot gear with truncheons walking him quickly, Imran Khan, quickly into a car and then jumping on the back of it. A huge group of riot gear police officers marching him towards a vehicle. As I say, these are from the PTI's official Twitter page. And as we were saying, Caroline, over the last few months, his party say that there have been over 100 court cases against him and charges, including terrorism, corruption and contempt of court. They've been hearing things like he's been charged of unlawfully selling state gifts given to him by foreign dignitaries. There's been a huge list of accusations against him, haven't there, over the last few months?
Yes, and this is something that Imran Khan and his party, the PTI, have attempted to try to use to almost bolster his reputation, to suggest that everybody is throwing everything they can at him to try to bring him down, and Imran Khan keeps marching on. Now, according to, of course, the government, the authorities, his opposition, they would say that actually this is another example of all the wrongdoing that Mr. Khan did while in power, and these are examples of him trying to brush them off of not following the law of the land. Mr. Khan refers to the law here and these attempts to try to keep bringing him to court as being the law of the jungle rather than the law of the land. So this is the ongoing conversation, argument that's been happening in Pakistan. And I think you can't underestimate how much of Pakistan society has been pulled into some of this drama. We're constantly seeing on media here the ins and outs of the different court cases, appearances in the Supreme Court, because Imran Khan and his party have also tried to take the government to court as well, because they are trying to have elections in Punjab and KP provinces in May. That has not happened. The PTI have challenged this on the grounds that this is unconstitutional as well. So both sides are pulling in all the different elements of society that they can in order to try to push forward before the big elections that are due to happen later this year. This is a big power struggle in politics that is happening in Pakistan at a really difficult moment for Pakistan. The economy here is incredibly vulnerable. It is on the brink. There has been a massive reduction in terms of the foreign reserves we've seen over the course of the last few months. So that has been a major concern and major worry. The Pakistani rupee is devalued quite significantly against the dollar. In the meantime, you've got a country that is struggling with very high inflation, people struggling to be able to buy food, to be able to feed themselves. You've also got millions who are still affected by last year's devastating floods as well. So plenty of other big questions in Pakistan, and yet one of the key ones that has pulled in a large amount of the media, a large amount of the courts, and of course all of the politicians, is who is running Pakistan and what will happen next. This big power struggle is really at the centre of this. And of course, this is a pretty major development in that, Lucy.
And just to remind people of the context of this, he was ousted from his position as Prime Minister in April last year, wasn't he? He had a vote of no confidence. He then responded to that. He refused to accept it. He responded to that with all sorts of rallies around the country. And we've seen over the months, people surrounding his house, his supporters surrounding his house when the authorities have tried to go to arrest him. He does still enjoy good support there, doesn't he?
Yes, so Imran Khan was the Prime Minister until April last year, when he was ousted in a vote of no confidence. And since then, he has continued to try to campaign. He has refused to accept this decision. He suggested that this is to do with our outside forces, even though this was something that is allowed for within the Pakistan constitution that was democratically pushed through. He suggested that this was to do with other people pulling levers behind the scenes. That's his accusation about what's happened here. And he's continued to campaign. He's continued to try to push for early elections and has continued to try to push for the elections that are due to happen later on this year, national elections. He has essentially been on a campaigning platform ever since he was ousted back in April. That's something that he's refused to take lying down. In the meanwhile, that's meant that it's very difficult for the government here, who've ended up being pulled into these conversations, in this power struggle conversation, particularly recently in the last few months, while they also have these very big questions to try to deal with here in Pakistan as well. And you might remember, in terms of economy, we know that there have been ongoing conversations and discussions with the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, to try to get money that would be able to help Pakistan out of this very difficult economic circumstances. Those didn't come to an agreement as yet. That's still ongoing. So this is some of the very other big questions that Pakistan are dealing with, and yet the politicians are constantly being pulled into talking about Imran Khan and what will happen next with Imran Khan. As you mentioned, we've seen previous images back in February, when there were attempts to arrest Imran Khan from his house in Zaman Park in Lahore, and we saw crowds of his supporters come out to try to stop the police from doing that, and we saw them being pushed back by tear gas and water cannon as well, which I think, from being in Zaman Park and speaking to the protesters, a lot of people then, that sort of hardened a lot of their views towards it. They felt that they were there defending Imran Khan, that they were the sort of last bastion to stop him from being arrested. Now, things have calmed down during the course of Ramadan, over the course of the last month or so, but of course Ramadan finished a week and a bit ago, and since then we've known that there have been more court cases coming up. This was one of the court cases that Imran Khan has appeared to here in the capital, in Islamabad, and of course that we hadn't particularly anticipated that there was something dramatic going to happen today, but of course we now know that Imran Khan has been arrested. That has been confirmed by the Islamabad police here, and on top of that, they said that he's been arrested on corruption charges. And I think, Lucy, it's also worth noting that they have issued this Section 144, which means that there are no gatherings or protests allowed in Islamabad following his arrest.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if people stick to that. Thank you.